FGC Job Squad, your premier Tekken podcast.
Hey everyone, this is Job Squad 20. I'm your host Kadar, aka Kadizi, and I got my co-host Ian, aka Pickle. What's up, Ian?
What's up?
And we have a very special guest with us today. We have Landon, the professor of Tekken, the teacher. From what I know, I'm always reading the gems he puts on Twitter, and they're always good. I'm always learning something. And
Was that what they call me?
yeah,
We know
I
you
mean,
guys, dude.
that's what I know you guys. But just yeah. We kind of wanted a perspective this week, I guess, or we've had perspectives of people who, you know, are ex-players or maybe veterans in the scene, and you're kind of like the first person we've had who's just kind of been outward saying, hey, I want to kind of teach and do like tutorials or not, or kind of help train people up kind of thing, right? In an official capacity, it seems like, or maybe unofficial, but we'll find out. So that's kind of why I wanted you on, because I think I've talked with Ian on the show plenty of times where it's hard to teach this game and teach people how to play. So
Definitely.
yeah. And then Ian, how do you know Landon? Do you know? Kind of
I was telling Kadar, I think the your name, like I feel like I recognize it from playing just online Tekken, even from Tag too. If I'm not wrong, right? Did you play Tag too?
I did. Yeah,
Were you the law player?
I did play law. Yes.
Okay, yeah. That's why I feel like your name's familiar for that reason. But yeah, it's the only I never actually met you, but I've just known you through that alone.
For sure. Where are you from?
Nice. I'm from Maryland. You know, born and raised up here, Baltimore County.
Awesome. So we always start off with this. It's kind of like a good way to get to know you. But what's your introduction to games, like fighting games and that whole world? And we're gonna kind of figure out who you are from there.
Oh man. The first fighting game I have memory of playing was MK Trilogy for the Nintendo 64. I shouldn't have been no older than like 4 or 5. Most of my fighting game experience, or like early fighting game experience, came from me playing my brother at home, because you know that's where most of the games come by. You know, fighting games with 2 players.
Yeah.
So Tekken, you know, was there. Tekken 2 was there. I have very faint memories of Tekken 2 though. Tekken 3 was definitely there. Tekken 4, Tekken 5, but we did have other games. We had Soul Calibur 2. Those were very fond memories. We banned Raphael because I was really nice with the triangle button. So that's there. But yeah, all my life those fighting games have been, you know, there just in the background. So that's really helped my inspiration there.
So like was there a point where like, okay, what was there a point where you were kind of like showing people the ropes? Like where'd you get like kind of the passion to teach people how to play things like that? Where'd that come? Was that early at all or no?
Yeah, I have a story for that. So when I was about 8 or 9 years old, we went to Disney Quest down there in Florida. He had like this really good arcade. And you know, I saw a bunch of the games I liked. You know, I've tried Guitar Hero, you know, maybe House of the Dead. Then they had a Marvel 2 machine. And I was like, yo, I see this game sometimes. And I hopped on the sticks, you know, 9-year-old Landon would do, bald head, running around. And then this old guy comes up. He said, what you know about this? And he completely eviscerates me from existence. like actually, I get eviscerated. I'm like, how do you know how to do this? Said, look, man, I've been playing this game for a long time. That's what he told me. And I've got like so inspired. I went home at Spots Live Marketplace. I bought Marvel 2, and I just started hitting more buttons. I had no idea what I was doing, but that really set me off for fighting games right there. And then I bought MK3 on that Xbox Live Marketplace. That was pretty good. I got hit by a Striker Infinite. Good times. Then I started playing Tekken 6. I had this. You could probably look it up. The Tekken 6 Collector's Edition, I think, came with this arcade stick, Xbox 360,
Right.
and I I know my brother was at the time he was like working at like GameStop. I was like 11 at the time. Time has passed. Oh, how could I forget this? I have a Street Fighter 4 like Xbox 360, if that made sense. Like the design on it is like vanilla Street Fighter 4. And I was just getting into fighting games at the time. Um I got vanilla Street Fighter 4 because I saw that on X Play for G4.
Oh yeah.
And uh I was doing what everybody else was doing online, jumping, heavy kick, sweep. Man, those were the times. But I really wanted to get into Tekken because Tekken 6 looked cool. And I swear I'm getting to it. I swear I'll get to it.
No, it's okay.
Um, uh,
Take your time.
You're good,
Take your time.
but I talk a lot. But Tekken 6, hmm, Tekken 6, my brother at the time, he was like getting into making arcade sticks and he just bought or customized his first one. So I took the collector's edition stick and I wanted to do that wave dash stuff, you know. Um
Right.
it's so the first I still go back to this video every single time. It's called the Rebellion Wave Dash video. That is a classic on YouTube.
Does it have
Um
hand cam? Does it have a hand cam? Or
Yeah,
is it
it's the hand
advanced?
cam and everything. It's not the music. It's the date says 13 years ago. It was not 13 years ago for me, but it was very close, to like being a year old. And I was like, okay, I guess I gotta copy his hands. I don't really can't read these Chinese letters. At the time I was 11, very ignorant. It's Korean, but yeah, I just dropped a video in there just in case. So
It'll be in the description, guys.
yeah, so that video is very important to me because I it's nostalgic to me every single time I watch it because like when I looked at it, I was like, oh man, its wave dash is so fast and it's so crisp. It's like, dude, he must have practiced a long time. And then I look at my gameplay now and it's like, oh, I can do that too. So but anyway, Tekken 6, I was trying out a bunch of different characters. I was confused. I tried Miguel. I was just doing sample combos with a bunch of characters going through the move list to like see like what I wanted to do. And I faintly remember like Julia. Now I wanted to play Julia, right? She looked like really cool to me and like the combos all worked, but I couldn't for the life of me figured out how to do wind roll because it wasn't in the move list. Like the combos involved her doing shotgun spin, and I was like, this is too hard, so I didn't play Julia. Um, I guess I ended up running around with Kazuya at the time just for fun. I can't believe I'm just remembering this now. And I remember the first online match I ever played was against a Bob, and I lost to him only doing back 2-2 over and over again. And I was so mad. I was like, I need to find this Bob player again. But he's gone. I'll never find that Bob player ever
Yeah.
again.
And back to two, it's a mid high, right? For anyone who's listening, is that the
Yeah,
mid
yeah,
high
it's
move?
mid
Yeah.
high. It's back 2-2. He does mid high, mid high, mid high, mid high, mid high. And as me, I don't understand frame data, so he would just do the move, and I would try to do 4-4-3, and then it was on hit, and I just cannot keep it. I just got scrubbed out. That's what happened. I'm new. I don't know all the ropes, the things they can do, so I lost to that. That was my first online Tekken 6 match, and how we got to where I was now. Tad 2 came out, a couple years later, and I was in a very deep character crisis. That game has a lot of characters. Um, I had no idea who I wanted to play, so I just kept trying out different teams and characters, and then I found this forum, Tekken Zaibatsu. Rest in peace, by the way. Tekken Zaibatsu.
RIP.
hmm Tekken Zaibatsu really really opened my eyes to what other people were saying in Tekken outside of my community. Because the most I had was Xbox Live 360, and I would try to learn all these characters and their combos, which is why I can hop on that game anytime now. Pick Bokujin, any other character, Ancient Ogre. I can do any combo. I don't care who I'm getting. Right? I just know all the combos for the characters, their moves, etc. Because I spent all that time in that character crisis stage where I didn't know who I was going to play. But that also made me worse at the game because I didn't pick any characters to play. So I was just playing random characters. And then my brother one time told me, he was like, dude, you gotta stick with the next two characters you pick. And then here's an important thing. AK at the time, he was playing Tad 2 and he was on stage, right? And he was fighting against what was his name? It was JDCR, I think, right?
You talking about
And
the globals for Tag
yeah,
2? Yeah, he
yeah,
played
it
against
was
GD.
fighting against JDCR in 2013, right? I remember this.
Yeah.
And that was super hyped to me at the time because I was like, whoa, he's 13 and he's messing him up. I'm 13. And so I played Law and Paul. Right? I was like, dude, if he can do it, I can do it one day. And I just stuck with that team forever. Now, a little bit further into the future, I finally went to my first local, right? And I remember clear as day, I fought a Jack player who tried to mix up debug, the low, and then debug 2. It's a mid launcher, and I can't believe I was blocking it. I was like, wow, I'm nice. However, I dropped every single combo. Um, it was very horrible. I was kind of sad, but that's okay. I didn't end up going back to Tekken for a while after like 2015, 2016, kind of a dark age. I was like, my Xbox broke. I was playing Injustice 2 in a first to 5. I was fighting Martian Manhunter, and my Xbox got a red ring of death. It was the saddest thing that's ever happened to me
Dude,
ever.
I forgot what Red Ring did.
Yeah, I got that on my first one too, man. It's brutal.
It was so sad. My Xbox is still in my closet. It's beautiful.
Did you
Take a
wrap
photo of it.
Did you wrap it in a towel? Because I know if like you wrapped it in a towel and overheated it, it would like resolder the fucked up parts. You ever heard about that strat?
No, but
I
I
did
wish
that.
I heard about that 7 years ago. That would have.
And dude, that was
Maybe
like a common solution for that, dude. I tried
Yeah.
it and it worked for. I also put it in I think in the freezer for a bit too. It works for like 30 minutes, and then back to square one again. Like it'll just break on you again, but
It was super
it does
jank.
work.
Yeah. A lot of consoles had that shit. I remember PS2 had disc read error, which was you had to take a disc, like so basically like I think the lens was too low and it wouldn't read the disc properly, and you had to take two pieces of tape and put it and tape them to the top of the disc, and it would make the disc weigh enough to be read by the thing. But that's like an OG one. I can't. Consoles are man.
I
Fucked up.
tried sticking a paper clip in the power thing. That did not work. That was
What?
I hurt myself. I was okay. I am not the smartest individual, despite what most people say. Okay, I'm just gonna come out and say it. And plus, I was like 15. I was very like I don't know, uh, on that side. I don't know how to say it. I was very not smart, but the videos of me playing are gone from that era because donated kibbles. I used to be friends with that guy, and he like deleted all the videos on his YouTube channel, and I was like in those videos playing and
Oh
stuff.
man.
But that's a bummer. Wherever he's at, donated kibbles, if you're here, I'm gonna hunt you down and get your YouTube channel back. He's probably not listening.
He's the
But
next guest, dude. Don't worry.
that's sick.
But
Anyway,
dude, so you're way younger than I thought. Because just reading the shit you say on Twitter, dude, you sound like an adult on Twitter, but
Sound
you're
like a
a
wizard, dude.
baby.
I sound like a wizard. Is that what you guys say?
I was gonna say, on Twitter, you just sound. I thought you were like in your 30s or something. So I'm surprised,
Oh.
like you were like a baby back then.
Wait, so
I
how old
don't
are
know
you?
how- Doing the math right now.
I
You're
just
like-
turned 22 last month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot younger than I thought. Okay, all right, continue.
All right. So around 2016, 2017, I I was on and off League of Legends, but that's when I started to really find the people that knew how to play it at uh when I was in high school in 2014. I remember freshman year of 2014, and I was off Tekken, because my Xbox broke, and I was waiting like, oh, Tekken 7 comes back up. I'm dropping League of Legends, and that's what I did. I never went back to League. And Tekken 7 came out, and I like fighting games. I remember watching the trailers for Tekken 7, and I saw Gigas. Man, Gigas was the hypest thing. If you watch that trailer, if you like big characters and you saw Gigas, that would blow your mind. It's like, oh my goodness, was that unblockable? Like, it's just all
Yeah.
for show. And I remember trying Gigas, and I was very disappointed. Even though I did play him in tournament, I was very disappointed, and so I didn't play Gigas. Instead, I played Akuma. I played Akuma. I did. I have. If I were to describe my Tekken knowledge at the time, it is like maybe warrior rank. Like, I used to think like, bro, just run up to people with king and do giant swing or muscle buster. Like, that was my mindset. It was like, bro, and if they duck, do down forward one. Like, it's the cheapest shit. Like, how do people beat that? And but like I can't even like fathom like the disparity of my knowledge from then and now. But I was playing Akuma, because I played Street Fighter and stuff. I love fighting games at that time, and did mess around with a lot of different fighting games. I remember playing Third Strike, the arcade mode. That was super hard for me to beat when I was like
Yeah.
14 and 15. Very, very difficult for me. I swear we're almost getting to it. Okay,
No, I
there's a lot.
I just want to say, like, I play the Fightcade 2, like, Third Strike arcade mode probably like every other day, and I still haven't beat it. I'm like such a bitch. I suck, dude. But I love Third Strike. It's fun. Actually, it's really fun.
hmm when I play that now, like recently, I've been playing or learning a lot of different fighting games with my newfound knowledge of learning. And I was
Right.
like, let me try the arcade mode. I just sweeped through that in like 2 minutes. I was like, wow, it was not as hard as it used to be. I don't know what changed, but nothing changed. It's just I know how to play the games now, I guess.
That's the best feeling of going to other fighting games. Like while you're spending a lot of time with one fighting game, it's like it it's not like you're going back to where you were in that other fighting game. Like you've done like side leveling up or whatever. I'm not sure what a good term is, but like it's like XP share in Pokemon. I don't know if you ever played
Yes,
Pokemon. Like
yes, it's like a free share.
you'll play other games and like yeah, it completely applies a lot of your tricks and it's amazing. That's what I love about playing other games. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So Tekken 7, I was playing Akuma, and I felt the power. I was getting carried. Okay, I was going to these locals again, Tekken 7, and everybody was hyping me up because I was playing Akuma. Like, imagine being a Street Fighter character and they put Akuma in Tekken. Like, that's got to be like the coolest thing for them to see. And I was doing the combos. All I could do was combos, but like for Akuma back then, that's like the game, the round. Like, you land a combo, you win. I don't know how to play, right?
How are you getting in back then when you were back in early 17?
Yeah, 2017. How was I getting in?
Yeah, with your Akuma, what were you doing?
I don't know. I was jumping like it's Akuma. Like, you just
Yeah,
walk
just
up to
jumps.
people. The game was carrying me like to the moon. Um, but what would happen is, I would win a tournament. I felt the power. That was nice. Sometimes I would play Paul. Because I did play Law and Paul and Tad 2. I didn't really like Law because I couldn't do his ender, so I played like Paul because he one shot people. I was getting carried. Not gonna lie. And I remember I won a tournament, where it was a big monthly, and I was really happy about my performance, you know. And then on the way, I made my brother really mad because he tried his hardest to learn Tekken, like right, he grinded tattoo with Seiko like every day, uh, in college, and he learned like Tekken like that. And then Tekken 7 comes out, his character isn't even in the game, and his little brother, who's like garbage at Tekken, hits Akuma and just starts beating him. Like I would be upset too. I would be distraught out of my mind. But
When you were playing Akuma, could you tell right away when people, like obviously no one knows this matchup, right? It's not a
yep,
legacy matchup at all. So like, can you tell right away when people get frustrated or they just straight
yep.
up don't know what to do right away with Akuma? I mean, it's still like a thing now, but not as much as before. But
I could tell right away. Like I didn't even know how to play Tekken. That the other person next to me was mad. Like um, on the East Coast, right there, there's a lot of emotional players, and
yeah,
like almost in a couple fights sometimes because of Akuma. I, but luckily, nothing really serious happened. I like to commentate sometimes, but there was at one point I wanted to be a commentator, but I was like, nah, I like playing. I want to do that,
Nice.
and
Yeah.
uh, so it's almost there. I promise. So,
Climax.
Akuma. I think one a monthly. I think I was feeling pretty good. It's like, wow, I'm playing Akuma, and I wanted to. My brother was like talking. Was like, good job, man, but you got to make a decision right here. Um, he told me is like it's probably pretty nice to win with Akuma, but you're not learning Tekken at all. I was like, what do you mean? It's like there's a difference between like this isn't like a salt talk, or it probably a bit is, where he's like, oh, you're not learning Tekken. It was actually life changing. Like if this talk never happened in the car ride back, I would not be on this podcast right now at all. Like the
Podcast.
whole future, I'm serious. The whole universe would be changed. Like
Okay.
it,
Because when I hear
it's a
that,
mind.
like, I would just think, like, dude, shut up. Don't ruin my high. Like,
No, I was like, what do you
like this
mean?
is second. You said what you said. What do you mean? All right.
Yeah, I was asking him like, what do you mean? Like he's like, well, there's a difference. If you do you want to win or do you want to play Tekken or learn Tekken? And I was like, well, I want to do both. He said, you could do both. It's just if you're playing Akuma, you're only trying to win, and if you play another character, you're learning Tekken and you're winning. And so I thought about it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna drop Akuma. Like
I get
right
why he would
there,
say that. Like
right there, and then all right, keep going. I'm
I was just
sorry.
gonna chime in. I was just saying, like, I feel like he probably said that because he saw, that you're winning based off of like maybe matchup and experience from the other players, right? Or maybe there's some things that Akuma can do that you can't really do in Tekken. Like you can't just jump back and
Yeah,
avoid shit, right? You can't just jump over things
yeah.
and get behind them. Like those things that are maybe winning you rounds or matches. Like I'm sure you saw the limit, right? To like how far you can get with this character or this playstyle.
This is what really started my like Tekken journey, like right here. So I'm like, okay, uh, I'm gonna try to play Law, right? And I still have footage of that moment of when I switched to Law. It is abysmal on my YouTube channel, and you would like to see, but it's a very long time ago. Oh, this was yeah, 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 very, very close. Okay, around 4 or 5 years ago, I think 5. It was the December 2017, early 2018. I switched to Law, and yeah, I remember this very clearly. Um, I went to start to going to more locals again, and I'm trying to remember exact moment. The moment was like the moment that I was thinking of wasn't as powerful as the feeling I had, if that makes sense. What
Right.
what they what someone played against me, right? I asked him, I was like, dude, how did you like know how to do that? And then he said something that like I had no idea someone would think about in like a fighting game. And I was like, how many people know about this? I can't Google this because usually I would just Google combos, look up it on Zaibatsu. I was like, dude, there's no like tutorials to teach me what you just said. How am I supposed to like figure that out? Right? And I was like, dude, that was so helpful. And I was
Wait, what did he
thinking, I was
say?
like,
Wait, what did they
I,
say?
I can't remember. That's the problem. That's what was so crazy. But like, this is the exact moment that like changed my life.
You
Like,
like
actually,
you like had a seizure and went to the avatar state and like, oh, I understand.
probably like, because like instantly, I was like, wow, I
That's
want to teach people the things about Tekken you cannot Google and look up. I was like, I want to reveal the secrets that you have to like, that like people get stuck in plateaus for. It's like, yeah, just do this. It's not that hard, right? And then like, how
right.
did you figure that out? It's because someone else told them, or they just figured it out themselves. But there's been so many moments where I've just been stuck, and someone would just say something, and I was like, how did they even figure that out at all? And it was just blowing my mind absolutely out of the water. And that's what I'm saying. I cannot remember it probably doesn't even matter. It was probably the simplest thing. The only thing that mattered is if I never dropped Akuma, I would have never had that moment. I wouldn't have cared because the second I tried to learn Tekken, that's what happened to me. And I was like, wow, I want to teach people the part of Tekken that you can't look up. And so I immediately went on Twitter and asked to join Speed Kids Discord. And that Discord was called Hanmaru. And there was a lot of people in there that I met that are still my friends. Um, and that's basically it. I could keep going, but that's it. Really, that's what really kick started my journey to answer the first question.
That's epic. I mean, I like that because yeah, there's so many times where you learn. I'm trying to think, Ian. Maybe you can answer after me, but like, I'm trying to think of like a turning point where someone said something where it's like completely changed the way I thought about how I was currently playing the game, and it's tough. I'm trying to think of like what it was. Like you hear something, and I think a lot of players have that moment where it's like, hey, are you looking at this thing or like this? Make sure you're doing this, and it's like, oh, epiphany. Ian, can you think of a time where you
Yeah.
had a moment
I
like
like
that?
I didn't have somebody teaching me the game directly. I learned off of mostly just YouTube guides and watching a lot of Korean gameplay.
No,
And I think once I got to the point where I could understand what I was watching, like when I was watching matches, and I can actually decipher exactly why they're doing certain things or why they're moving in certain directions. Like that's when the game started clicking for me. But prior to that, I was just watching Tekken and not really knowing, what exactly was going on. But I was just watching. I watched a lot of Eris guides when I was learning Tag 2. I was like 2013, right? 13,
same.
14. I was watching a lot of those guides, and a lot of the guides are from T6 as well. But they were still relevant for Tag 2, and just watching a ton of gameplay. And I really don't know when it happened for me, but it was maybe like year two of really trying to learn the game when I just started to understand, how to implement frame data, movement, and like just how to have a game plan, I guess, with my characters. Like it took me maybe around year 2 or 3 when I started really putting all that together. But there was no, for me, there was no one that was really helping me out. It was just me watching a bunch of YouTube content, and then eventually like I just started understanding the game. But it did take a while, and it sucks because once you've been playing for so many years, you have to sort of abandon that old play style, or else like for you it was the Akuma. For me, I was just playing King and Armor King, and I was just not really trying to learn anything or anyone else. And that's so hard for anyone who was learning Tag 2, because like you said, there's how many characters? I mean, in Tekken 7 we had a slow release of every character, right? So it sort of lets you like you can keep up to date with all the new characters that are coming out because they're not releasing 20 in one go. But in Tag 2 the whole cast was available, and I was only playing 2 characters, and I just did not, I could not really learn much from doing that. But I don't really know when that moment was, but it was probably around the second or third year of me playing Tekken when I really started to piece everything together.
Yeah, yeah, you got to play like two characters in that game, but that's every person or all my friends talk to like that wake up moment they have where like Tekken clicks for them. Like they're like, oh snap! Like I'll never forget my wake up moment for Tekken. Um, that moment was when if you don't mind me sharing that is
No, no,
Yeah, go
please.
for it, dude.
um so I can get to it. So in the server, I was, talking with a lot of people, asking questions. I was just asking questions and asking questions and asking questions, right? Because I was like, oh my goodness, I just need this knowledge so much. All I do is ask questions, right? Because it's just there's so many questions you need to ask in this game,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, oh my goodness, there's an answer for everything. And so I was trying to play Tekken versus the people in the server, right? And I ran into someone who's now known as Claire. They're really important to me. I almost teared up there. They're really important to me because they really like push me to like learn the game. And we started off in T7 for a bit at a time, and there's clips of me playing them on my Twitch channel too. Like very, very like long clips of me just getting bodied by like the most random thing. I was trying to learn Tekken. And sometimes we play T7, but they always said I can't really teach you how to play Tekken in this game because this game doesn't really teach you
Yeah.
proper Tekken. It just rewards your bad mistakes. And I was like, what do you mean? And then we played Tattoo, and my mind was blown. Okay, I didn't learn Tekken 7 from Tekken 7. Like, right? I never learned how to actually play Tattoo. I was just mashing buttons.
Yeah.
But all through like the beginning of 2018, and a little bit there, I was grinding Tekken Tag Tournament 2 with Claire. And there was a moment where they got like really mad at me in the game because I would just keep hitting back four, and they just said stop. I was like, "What do you mean?"
Back
They
forward with
say,
Lee,
"Then
right?
no law,
Oh, with Law.
law."
Okay. Okay.
I just kept hitting back four, right? Because it's just I didn't want to guess. I didn't really understand like right how to hit. And they said, "You aren't trying to guess." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And then they said, "When you land Dragon Hammer, right, it's +1. If I do this, you can do this. If I do this, then you can do this, but only
Yeah.
after you see me do that." I was like, "Oh my goodness, I can guess." And that was on the Fiji stage. That blew my mind. And then I just went off. Like I was just trying to play. That was like my wake up moment for Tekken.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool because like if those people that know these things, like there's so many people that hate labbing, and we always talk about this, but that's how you figure these things out. When you go up against a character like Law and they land Dragon Hammer, then you go, well, what if he does a follow up? Can I
Yeah.
sidestep? Can I backdash out of this? Or what can they do, and how can I beat that follow up or that sequence? But you can't really just like those are things that you just have to unless somebody's giving you that knowledge, you have to like lab that stuff. Those are like such small little details. But when you watch like high level gameplay, that's like expected. Like you see some of the players like they do side steps and they duck, right? And they'll avoid a homing move and a high. They do things like that are they're such small little details, but they're so important if you really want to improve at the game.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking. So for me, it's two like key moments. So like for me, it's like I was very at this point very low level thinking of Tekken and not playing the game properly. And I'm sure some could argue I still don't play the game properly, but like one thing I heard from Eris is that the entire point of Tekken, this blew my mind. Is like the entire point of the game is you're trying to provoke your opponent to do something so you can punish it, right? It's all about provoking, right? It's provocation, the entire thing, right?
Yeah.
And another thing I heard from Legade, he's like a local San Diego legend. He came over to my place and like 75 owed me in Tekken. And the biggest thing he told me, and obviously it seems so obvious, it's like one of those it should be obvious things, but it's like never do anything unless you have a reason to do it. And you can't be making those like, and by the time if you're making decisions like slowly, it's not going to work. It's like you have to do everything for a reason. You got to backdash for a reason. You got to like, if you're doing down back one, it has to be for a reason. You gotta have like data backing it up, or you're just guessing,
Yeah.
obviously, right? That could be the reason too. But those two things, like the game's all about provoking people and never do an input without a reason. It's like those two things were like, oh shit, this is harder than I thought, kind of thing. Where it's like, maybe this game's not for me, or it's too hard.
Yeah.
It was like kind of the golf. I saw the golf of tech, like how deep the game is at that point.
Yeah, I'll touch on that because they teach you this when like if you wanted to learn boxing, some coaches use this as like a way for you to structure like a game plan. They'll tell you before you even throw anything other than a jab, land at least 10 jabs and use that as to gather information before you start using a hook or anything else. Like land 10 jabs and then start putting in your combos. But when you're doing these jabs or while you're doing the first 10 jabs, you have to understand what your opponent's doing when you move a certain direction, how they how if they back up or they go or they're very aggressive. You have to like just pay attention to everything they're doing. And once you have enough information, then you start adding more punches to your combos. And that's something that you can apply to fighting games too, right? Like before you start swinging and just going for launchers, like you have to understand a little bit about what your opponent's doing, right? But again, like what we're talking about, how in Tekken 7 you're kind of rewarded for just pushing buttons, versus in Tag 2 you can actually there's so much more you can do in that game. But it's a game plan that I like. I like learning more about my opponent before going all in. I don't feel comfortable just going ape shit on people in Tekken, dude. But that's just my play style, I guess.
Yeah, that's sort of my play style too. That I've been trying to break out of too.
Yeah. So I mean, just discussing this at this point. So what do you guys do? So it's branching off on that. How do you guys get data? So you guys are probably like the much better players than me. But expanding on what Ian said, let's say you're game 1, you're at a tournament in pools.
In which game?
T7. We're talking about
T7.
We're
going to be because we can't play any more
podcast.
Tag 2, right? There's no more competitive Tag 2. But
Nice.
Yeah, T7. We're current patch. It doesn't even matter. Don't even get specific, or get as specific as you want. But let's say, how are you getting data game 1? And it's someone who, let's say, is equal skill level to you. What are you doing for data gathering? Those first 10 punches, like Ian was saying. But not 10 punches, obviously. Whatever your first 10 punches would be in the situation.
So are you asking V Pickle or?
Yeah, go ahead, Landon. You go first.
Oh, okay.
I'll get to trainer specific stuff later, but I'm kind of curious about this.
It all depends on my opponent, really. Always. It always depends on my opponent whether I know them or not.
Let's say you've never met them, and people are gathered around. He has homies behind him. You're not sure how. Maybe you've heard this player is decent and not someone to be slapped on, but you've never played them before.
Okay. Well, since I play a genetically modified character known as Bakaram, first round, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm actually just going to sit there and see what you're gonna do to hit me at all. I don't care about revealing these strats, right? Live on recording. Please, if you hear this, run up and do all the things you think you can hit me with. Please, I beg of you, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I want you to do this, yes, right? I beg of you to come and hit me and win that round. Because if you're going to show me all of that stuff, like all the things you use to hit me, right? Maybe I'll just sidestep dash. Maybe I'll jab. Like I'll just mash jab and see what you do to like beat it, right? Because every single bit of information at tournament matters all the time, right? Let's say I was like fighting a Harong. I would literally just let him hit me in the first round. Because one, he's making himself super vulnerable, right? I don't care if I give up the first round. We got 2 games, right? And then maybe I'll just win the round because he does something unsafe. Like I'll just win off of my defense, right? Like he's just like too like crazy. I won't even have to like try, right? So if he's like super blatant with his timing, then he just dies, right? And then the second round, like, okay, now I'm just gonna run up and do lows. Like I hope people hear this. I'm gonna run up and do lows because you have to do something to hit me out of it. Like I'm serious. That's how the game Tekken 7 works. I can run up and keep doing Fakaram down back 4, and you have to do something to hit me out of it, right? Let's say I do Fak down back 4, right? Bam. And you're like, oh, I don't want him to do that. And you mash like while standing 4 or while standing 1 after, right? Now you're just letting me know that's what you like to mash after it. And I'll just keep running up and are you going to stop me from doing this? And then maybe you'll be like, oh, now I got to hit him and do lows. And then boom, you run in the jet kick. And then I win that round. And now I got all this data. Now I can just chill.
Yeah,
that's just what I'd be doing.
Ian, what about you?
Yeah, like from the tournaments that I've played, like there's like you said, the first round I usually just use it to figure out, are they aggressive or are they, really passive. And one of the obvious tells that I have of if this player can move or not, I just look at their backdash. If they have those very, they do one backdash and they just hold back, like I already know this guy's like an easy target to hit. Like they don't, they don't continue backdashing as they're blocking. Like that's an obvious tell for me. So at least I know how much movement they have, and I also look at if I start landing a lot of moves, like do they, how do they defend? Do they mash, moves, or do they move or sidestep, or do they, what I want to see how they react when I land a jab or something. A lot of people who do, low jabs, it's like a lazy, some people use it as a bad habit. They just don't know how to defend, so they just low jab to get the momentum back. And there's other players who really save those moves for when they really need it. They don't make it clear that they want to always back you off with the move, and they'll just save it for those later rounds. But I just look at that more than anything. I look at their defense before anything, so at least I know how much what I'm working with.
See,
For sure.
Pickle. First thing they said, I'm gonna see how they move, and I'm not moving at all. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
It's broken because you can play the game like that. It's
yeah.
it's
I mean,
it's
it's
just
not
what I
like
pay for.
that's not like the only, I'm not assuming that just because like you're not moving that that's it. I'm like, there's all these mind games, right? Yeah, you could totally be doing that to me just to like make me think you can, right? And
So
I've seen that.
what do you do at that point though, Ian? So let's say you're playing him and you see a Fox just chilling, waiting for you to do shit. What do you
Yeah.
do in that situation?
Like, okay, even if you act like you can't, move around, if I can just tell like by the way you defend, or if you're looking out for certain moves, you're at a certain level, right? Like if you know my character, if you know my character's best moves, certain ranges, like if I know that, I know you're bluffing. No matter if you just stand still the whole time, like you can't hide that.
Of course.
You can't hide that. But if it's hard. It's hard to really explain it. It's one of the things that you just kind of just react to, I guess. But that's what would go to my head if I see you, like if I see you just properly punishing things, like to the best of your character's ability, then I know that you're not trash, right? Like I don't think you can hide that, throughout an entire set.
Oh yeah, my intention wasn't to hide it. It's just I'm not moving. Like you just play like that. I don't know why you have to hit me, bro. Like
Yeah,
you just gotta run up and hit him, and you're just showing
yeah,
me how you like to hit me. It's messed up because then later in those rounds, it's just I just have that data. You don't want to. You're just wasting your like. If I need information like fast, like I'm down, like I need to know how you're gonna play, right? So I'm literally just gonna smack you all over the place, right? Because if someone's literally just standing there, right, you're gonna have to do lows, and then you have to play off that like mind game, I guess. Like bot doesn't necessarily have to do lows. I found running three is really good at getting what I want out of people. Now that I've tested it, it's carrying me pretty hard. Um,
such a fair move, by the way.
What's
yeah,
running
but
through? What are the properties of it? I don't know anything
it,
about Fox.
it's just a tiger knee, and it's like plus 10 or something.
Yeah,
Oh
it's a
god.
running move. Yeah, and fucking crazy ass range too.
I mean, a lot of the
Yeah.
running moves are plus two though. What makes that move special?
So this move has no tracking.
Okay.
Yeah, you see there's no tracking on the move whatsoever. So you're gonna move out of the way of it, right?
Right.
Yeah, I want you to, because if you move out of the way, you get hit by jet kick.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's that character. It's like you don't think Fakuram is like this character that you can just easily size up. He has so many other moves that do track that the ones that don't. It's almost like it helps. Helps that the move doesn't
Yeah.
track. It's a
Mhm.
weird thing, but off of playing that character, like I haven't really learned the character how to play myself. But I've had a few of his moves, and the tracking on everything else he has just makes you like it just forces you to play fucking back and forth, Tekken. You can't really like sidestep that character too well, but that's a weird it's a weird mind game, but that shit totally works, dude. Just using running three. Is it running three or running four? Check whatever that move is,
Running
but
three. Running
yeah.
three.
Okay.
Plus
I got a
10.
question for you, Landon. So Landon, at what point, without maybe you got a long story about this, but like when did you start saying like, hey, I can teach people how to play this game? I'm interested in playing Tekken, but like now I want to give people. I mean, I'm sure it was in Discord. You were just giving people advice, and at some point you're like, okay, hey guys, just start messaging me, or what happened?
Oh man, this is tough because I try to think back when what I knew now. I was like, wow, can't believe he tried that. He's he's not like at his level to do that at all. But like at the time, you don't really think like, oh, you can't really see the ceiling that you're coming down from. But I realized like I can competently make decisions with a reason, and like play people at that standard. So I was able to. It was just at this point where I could easily just align my decisions with reason. I know I just said that, but like it's more like Law's kind of a very bastard character. He's got a lot of funny moves that kill him, and so when I realized that I could like play that character with like punish other attacks, like do lows, use my moves with reason, and get stuff out of them, and I could start like theory crafting Tekken, and think about it and then put it on the screen, and I could tell someone how to do that very thing, like that is that thing, um, and that's what I thought. I was like, you know what, I think I can start helping people with this game now, right?
Dude, so I was gonna say, like, so for me, when I think the coolest part about when you want to teach someone something, it reaffirms what you know about that subject, right? So it's like
That's
when
why I
you're,
do it.
yeah. So it's like when you're explaining something to someone, you're kind of in the back of your head, like, am I sure about this? You're gonna like cross analyze it in your head maybe 10 times more before you like commit to saying this is what you got to do to people. And plus, you're also kind of teaching yourself. Like, did you ever kind of feel that way? That's like kind of, I don't know.
Yes, I do it all the time. Just recently, I asked everyone to tell me their Tekken character, and I'll tell you the strongest aspect. I don't really know it off the top of my head, but I have to think about it. And it's like, oh yeah, that thing's there. And then other people learn about stuff in the process, and the credit learning is a big part of my learning process in Tekken and how I've got to where I am today. Uh, it may sound a little elitist or egotistical, but I feel like the way I learned Tekken, the like mindset and like upbringing I had from learning Tekken, like within Speak's Discord, has allowed me to just learn better than every other player that I come across. Because no matter who's beat me, right, I've always come back and beat them again, right? If you give me
Yeah.
enough time, I'll figure out how you play. But that's just because of how I learned Tekken. And right now I'm at the stage in First to Two where if I just learn how you play, I'm gonna be able to beat you eventually in First to Two. It's just that I only have 2 games, so eventually your 2 game tactics won't work, and that's like starting to show as like I'm
Yeah.
starting to win a couple things now.
That's one of the things that because I came from just playing online Tag 2, and then I did not compete until T7 on console release, so 2017. So I came from just playing just sets, long sets with people, and playing a first to two was so different. Like I don't know if how your experience was, but I felt like
It's
I was
definitely
way
different.
too passive. I was way too passive at
Mhm,
first. I was just waiting and waiting, and then it got to the point where I'm just getting bullied the whole round.
mhm.
And like I would lose sometimes. I'd be like, damn, like I saw all the things that he's doing, but I just for some reason I was being so patient as if I had 5 more of the games to play. But like, well, what's your approach then? If since you're saying you're getting better at first to two, I mean, you talked about
Oh,
how how you first interact with people, you sort of let them lead the dance, right? But like, how have you performed? I guess in tournaments too. I want to see how have you done in offline events in first to twos?
wow. So everything that every problem I come across with Tekken 7, I've always overcomplicated it. But that's just because that's just what I have to do. I have to like think it's harder than it is, and I just try to. At first, I think the answer is simple, and I'm like, no, it can't be that simple, and I overcomplicate it, and then it's like actually simple, and I say, oh, this game sucks, and then I'm back to the same problem again. I run into another problem and I overcomplicate it. But I can't really say the game sucks anymore if it's really gotten my attention. But to answer the question, uh, Curse 2, Tekken 7 is a lot different than just playing deathmatch. Because I am a deathmatch player, right? I prefer long sets, learning about my opponent. So when I came to Versa 2, it was kind of a shock. I lost to Sprimbo Blimblo, Yatsa Lily or whatever.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, wow, I'm not very good at this. But I realized it's a different type of skill, and preparing for that does make you, better at the game very, very fast. So you said that what was the question again? Differences?
No, I just want to see like how exactly you like how what did you do in First Twos when you first started, and also like in tournaments too, like how you done in like I haven't seen your name in offline events. I'm not sure if I've seen you like in majors.
Well, that's because offline events haven't been here because there's been COVID.
But what about prior? Like prior to the COVID, like were you competing? Like
I was.
2019
I was
last
trying
year.
to. Yeah, I remember fighting Anakin and Red Bull. I got bodied.
Oh, really?
I was not very good at Tekken. Not even close. But from the start of COVID and up until now, I learned so much about this game that I feel so confident in my ability to just win now. I've gone through so many things that have like put me here. But like Versa 2, when I first started, I was just no. Like when I started to try to learn Versa 2, like that moment, like that was pretty recent. It was like maybe like last year, like November. I was like, wow, I'm getting rocked. This is not like the ideal. I was trying different characters. Like, do I play Law? Do I play Devil Jin? I'm like, you know what? And it came to a moment where I was like, I don't know what to. I would just keep practicing, and then my practice partner, played me with Lydia, and I was like playing Devil Jin, and I just could not win. It was the worst thing ever. Like I lost like 1-17. Like it was so bad.
Jeez.
And then the power of Sanford Kelly came over me, and I was like, I need a character, bro. I was like Leroy, and I was like, no, I'm not feeling it. Fakaram, I'm doing it. Like I just went straight to Leroy, then I was like, no, Fakaram. First it was Leroy, then it was Akuma, and I was like, no, I cannot play Akuma. But I had some nice combos for that moment. That was pretty funny. And then I went to Fakaram, and man, I fell in love. That is
brutal character, huh?
That's the best thing that's ever happened to me. After like playing, there was a moment too right before that started backtrack where I was playing Law, right? And at one moment I said, this is gonna go crazy. If I hit back 4 on Law and Tekken 7 one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind because I need something more active gameplay, probably something more difficult, right? Because I need to like not sunk into autopilot. So I picked up Devil Jin, and that was a journey. My eyes were open to Tekken even more than I thought they were. I was like, wow, this is how you play Tekken. And really Tekken, those tips they tell you about Tekken, Bronson Tran says it all the time. It's you gotta look at the screen, run around, throw shit out, and then right? And then you gotta do the good moves. I could probably find it right now. That is actually how you play Tekken. And you look at the screen and you play. I am so serious. Looking at the screen is the best thing you can ever do. All Tekken is trying to be more aware of everything that happens. You gotta notice everything. Pay attention to everything. And now when I play, like I can beat these people, and it's of course because Bakaram, right? That too. But like I was it's the perfect time for me to play like top tier, right? I'm at that moment in my whole fighting game career, Guilty Gear Strive, and then Tekken. So when Guilty Gear Strive came out, I was really trying to win tournaments for that too, and I played really hard. So like I'm like low key nice at Strive, and I don't play the game. But anyway. Like my fighting game like skill is like or knowledge of like all these games. I could pick a top tier character. I'm not gonna start autopiloting. I'm not gonna lose skills. I'm not gonna build bad habits. I know what I'm doing with this character. I know like how cheap it is. I know how stupid it is, right? Because I'm completely aware of like the dumb stuff I'm doing. I'm not going to just fall in and like these bad habits. I'm going to just keep going
For sure.
and running it, you know. So
That's awesome. So hopefully, yeah. I mean, yeah, COVID sucks. It's been a long time too. It's a lot. It's a lot of time to put time into the game. I think people are going to be surprised. I mean, obviously, people are being surprised constantly now with the current top eights that you see. It's people who have been putting the work in. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So when offline comes back, I think people are being in for a rude awakening. You know, no matter how it comes, you know, for what the top eights look like. But it's going to ask you about teaching and stuff like that.
Yeah, run it. I'll answer
So
everything.
so teaching and stuff like that. So let's say someone hits you up via what your channels for teaching. What kind of
Mhm.
like how do you do a skill assessment, and what are the first things you're doing when someone comes to you, and what are you going to do differently? Like if
Oh,
it's someone who's a big complete beginner, maybe to an intermediate, to like someone who's maybe advanced. Like, do you have like kind of different things you're going to show them, or what are your
yep.
strats?
Yep. So what I did was before coaching, they tried to give me a Metafy. I looked at the Metafy. I was like, I'm not feeling this vibe for Metafy at all. Like it is just not me. So I said, I'm gonna do it my way, Trit 2G style. So I made a custom coaching request form, and I got the idea from physical therapy how they were like asking me like about all the problems I have, 1 to 10, where am I at? Describe my problem, right? I was like, this would be really good for Tekken. So I made this form right here, and I'll also post it. I'm not trying to shill. I just need an example, if they, So it's what I have them do. They fill stuff out, and I'll ask them, how long have you been playing Tekken for? Right? What characters do you play? What's your highest online rank? In your own words, in your Tekken gameplay, like what would you say you're currently struggling with the most? Essentially, what do you need help with? And they can leave it blank if they're unsure. It's fine. But most people put down stuff, and that allows me to set up, and then I tell them, okay, find me two to like 3 replays of you playing online, right? They'll
Yeah.
record that for a session, and then they'll come back. They'll say, hand me the recordings as I pull up their form, and then I pull up their form, I read them. It's like, and it'll be something like Yacht's the Armor King, and he'll play. And then first round, I see exactly what he does wrong, right? I don't even need to watch the whole replay, but I do though, right? I tell them, give me time to watch this firsthand without saying anything. I watch it
Yeah.
all the
See,
way
okay,
through.
I don't interrupt you. Sorry, but man, if I did better prep work and this wasn't short notice, thank you for coming day one. I would have fucking sent you my footage. I would have loved to hear
Yeah.
what you
I was
had.
gonna say it would have been cool if you were like asking the questions like for
Yeah, I
yourself. That
should have
would have
filled
been
this
pretty
form
cool.
out. The form link is in the description. Sorry, go ahead, Landon. I should have
I mean,
sent my footage.
you can. I mean, it's fine. It's just um, you can still ask me questions. It's fine. It's just what I do is I watch the whole thing through, and then I go back with them, right? Because I some things come up in the match, like you don't want to watch, you don't want to try to coach them on the first watch through. Like you don't want to do that because there's going to be things and different ideas, and you don't know exactly what they're thinking yet and how they change their thought process if they're going to change. So you want to watch the whole match, and then you want to go through it again, and this time you want to point out the things they're not doing right. And then you'll see how flawed their mistakes are. It'll be like, yeah, you don't whiff punish this guy at all. Like, imagine if you whiff punish him. Look, he whisks right here, whisks right here, whisks right here, whisks right here, whisks right here,
Yeah.
whisks
Some
right,
of those whiffs could
etc.
be in rounds, right? They could actually equal to
Yup,
like a whole round.
yup. And they're like, whoa, I really don't whiff punish. That's what they realize, right? Or like, I coached an Armor King player, name I won't disclose, right? Um, they just weren't throwing And so I was like, okay, you need to throw with Armor King. And I was looking at these chain throws. This does 50 damage. And they're like, whoa, you changed my life. And I'm like, there you go. And then what I also do at the end of the session, because usually that takes an hour, right? Or an hour 30, right? Explaining stuff. I take the stuff
Yeah.
into practice mode. I show them the character, right? What I do is I teach them how to lab the game. And I'm serious. So like as soon as they like run into another problem, they know how to like fix it. So what I do is then I give them this website, the real frame data website. This is better than Army Norway. It tells you even more than Army Norway. It might be kind of weird to read at first, but you read unless you have Google Translate or whatever. But I know my way around the website, and what I do, I show them training mode, and I take them to Katarina, right? And then I show them how I lab the game. I'm like, I record jab and then the first move, and I try to step
Yes.
it, see the tracking. How can my character counter it? Does this jail? Third move, fourth move, fifth move, sixth move. And eventually they'll see. Oh, right, I didn't know Katarina's 1-1-3 was -19. It's like, yeah, you can learn that by doing this, right? And it's pretty
Yeah.
easy. And then afterwards, the reason why I choose Katarina is because Katarina has a stance too that's really easily avoidable,
Yeah.
right? Depending on the character, right? It's hairier.
Mhm.
And most stances in Tekken don't make sense when you enter them raw. Like Katarina is not just gonna do forward four, right? Or she can, it's just not optimal. She's gonna enter hairier stance with
Yeah.
down 2 or back 1, right? Because those are plus 14. So what I do is I explain to them, you Tekken stances work by people will enter a stance, usually with an attack, and the situation changes whether you block the move entering the stance or you get hit by it. If you block it, you have a lot more counterplay than if you got hit. So I
For sure.
explained to them, the Harrier stance, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like, well, you can stab all these moves in Harrier stance, but there's one move that traps you, but you can punish it. Hee hee. And then I showed them, whoa, but what if we get hit by down 2? Like, this stuff hurts us, right? So that's why they do that. And then I showed them, well, if the stuff sucks going into it on block, then why do they go to it on block? Well, because Katarina can cancel her Harrier stance into crouch, and she has a crouch mix up. And they're like, whoa, that makes so sense because Tekken characters are supposed to, their moves are supposed to coherently work like a puzzle, right? Their
Mhm.
moves are supposed to function into like this play style, right? That like makes sense and they work together with each other and they like, they got strengths and weaknesses in it and they play around it, right? So that really helps them. And they're like, thank you for teaching me how to lab the game because most players don't know how to use practice mode. And
How are
I'd
you
like,
using practice mode? So what do you teach people about practice mode?
well, what I just said right there, because mostly they don't really understand like how to lab a character. They'll just see
Oh, as far
moves
as
go down the
settings,
move
like
list.
yeah, what settings are you recording
Oh,
multiple moves?
stands, no, just record. Well, when I teach them how to, eventually, Katarina gets to her reactable moves, and I explain to them like 20 frame like reactable moves, and I explain to them like 23 and up. Right? I tell them if a move and this frame counter is 23 and up, the game is telling you they want you to react to it, right? Just straight up. Without, like you just should block it without having to think about it, right?
Yeah.
If the move is around 20, 21, or 22, they want you to look for the move to block it, right? Meaning you have to put your focus on that attack in order to
Right.
block it, which means you're giving up other things. And I explained that to them with a bunch of moves in Katarina's move list. Like she's got down bat 3, down 4, 3+4, right? And sometimes I show them like you gotta record yourself defending against, Heihachi bat 2, Heihachi down bat 2, and Heihachi forward 4, right? You want to give yourself because obviously you're gonna know Heihachi down bat 2 is coming, right? So you don't want to just put the low. You want to put something else that so you're not just waiting for it and Twitch reacting. It's like, of course
Right.
I know we can do
Yeah,
it.
you trying to like recreate almost like the most, I guess, like realistic experience of you dealing with like a
Mhm.
Heihachi pressure, right? Or
I'm
like any
telling
character
them,
pressure.
yeah, I'm telling them how to improve their reactions within the game, you know. And not a lot of people know how to just do something as simple as that. But I've seen a lot of progress in like these people that like I've just helped. Like they've gone from like Mighty Ruler to like Tekken King. Like they've gone from like Vanquisher to Rajin. Like they just been blowing up. One like it's almost about to hit Tekken God
Yeah,
front. Like it's just beautiful to watch.
pretty
Like
cool, right?
and
Seeing that.
I it just makes me like I just want to help other people, right? Because I know what it feels like when someone took their time out of their day to help me, and I was like, that's my whole reason for even learning Tekken was to tell people what Google doesn't really tell them to help them. You know, people when I started, I've met so many people, all walks of life. Um, when helping them with Tekken. You know, not everyone's paid coaching, right? There's not the only people I've helped, right? I've met so many people with like problems, and I was like, bro, like it comes to a point where I'm not even teaching them Tekken. Teaching someone Tekken is really easy, but they'll have other overlying problems where I'm like, I have to teach you how to learn. Like I gotta teach you how to not have an ego or stuff like that. It's not even Tekken at that,
Yeah.
right?
Do you
So
deal with a lot of like stubborn people, students, I guess, if you want to call them that?
yes, I do, right? But the people that pay, they're if you're willing to pay me for coaching, you're willing to, like listen. But there's people that will like they know like I'm more experienced, but they'll come to ask me something and I'll give them the answer to it and they'll just be extremely stubborn, right? Because it's kind of like that old master thing, right? I'm not supposed to just yell at them, right? But I'm gonna acknowledge they're just like blatant ignorance of like you have no idea the gap between us. Like a like mighty ruler will like I'm just using ranks here. I don't know other way to tell it. Is will like try to like explain to me like why they think their choice or reasoning makes sense or why it's better. And then eventually, their ego will just come by. I'm saying it's like their ego, but like, of course, I have my ego. It sounds very elitist right now, but like sometimes you gotta like shut up, like for real. Like that's what I had to learn too. Like I thought I do it. I had to shut up. Like I didn't know anything. Like that's what I needed to tell myself. I need to humble myself and say like, bro, I don't know anything. And sometimes I still think that it's so bad to assume something in Tekken. If you are assuming something in Tekken without like figuring out like what it actually is, you're messing up like so hard. Like you never want to assume something. You want to go figure it out as soon as possible.
Damn.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time that you've been or sorry, Ian, did you have a question? Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, dude.
I was gonna say so a lot of the time you transition to like being maybe a teacher or coach. It was kind of during COVID, but let's say offline comes back and COVID becomes a thing of the past. What do you think about offline coaching? Is that anything that you'd be interested in, like real time coaching, or is that not anything that you've thought
Oh,
about even?
well, I would love to be a coach for like a team like Chongi is, you
Yeah,
know.
we've heard about Trung. We've had Cuddlecore on. She talk the way she talks about how Trungi helps her with her adjustments. It seems like such an amazing
Yeah, every
thing.
time my practice partner Emily is like down, I can just walk over there and just spit sweet nothings and then they win. Like you can just because like they just don't see the things that I see at that time. Like I swear I'm the best like tournament coach for that. Like I can just spot things and tell the people things and strategies they just aren't aware of at that time. And sometimes I do it for myself too. Like watching replays, I'm like, wow, I'm not doing that. That's why I think watching replays is like so strong. You notice these things that like like notice more than when you weren't playing. Like you'll
Yeah.
have the same like perspective. Like I know what I was doing at the time and I know what I was thinking, but I also didn't see this. And that just improves your like awareness with the game.
I
So
think
yeah, I
like
really
a huge skill to have is being able to take coaching in that heat of the moment. Because for me, I'm very bad at like getting any advice, and I'll always like get away from me. I know what I'm doing. Like it's hard. It's hard.
well
I hate listening to people like in the heat of the moment. That's
uh,
like a muscle you have to work. I think. Like I'm thinking
yeah.
about Street Fighter Five, like Zion. If anyone knows Zion and SD, like him coming up to me to coach me during playing Sherry Genix, that shit never helped because I was never willing to listen to what he had to say because I'm getting my ass kicked and you know what I mean?
Oh
Like, I
man.
think it's just
Yeah.
such a skill. Like, I don't know, to be coachable. I guess that's the word.
hmm
Co-
Some people
Try to be coachable.
are some people are horrible students. Horrible, but I've always had the mentality I just need to be a better teacher. Not everyone has learns the same way. You come to understand that there's different styles of learning that people have, different ways they learn. Sometimes you gotta show them, sometimes you gotta tell them. But for me, like I don't know if you're talking about offline like paid coaching or like me just helping out
Yeah,
my friends.
offline. Yeah. What do you think about like just doing offline coaching in person like during a tournament? You kind of answered the question already.
Well, during the tournament, I wouldn't have someone pay me to help them in a tournament. That's just wrong. I'm not gonna. That's just cheating. If they're paying me to tell them what to do in a tournament, that's just messed up. However, if it's my practice partner, I'd be willingly to tell them that this other person has no defense and to hell sweep the hell out of them. I'd be so down for that. Just to win them those games. I have nothing against that. However, I'm not gonna. I'll coach a person, right? I'll play them, and tell them like I'll watch their stats, and like afterwards I'll tell them like, yeah, you weren't doing this at all. But I feel like offline coaching is like it's kind of wild. That's not what I'm going offline for. I'm going
Like
offline,
mid-stat coaching, I guess is what I was thinking. But that's probably
yeah,
not cool, huh?
I would
With
just play
mid-stat.
them. People are there. Oh, you're Landon. I'll play you. Like I'll just do that. And I'll give them tips there. That's like a fun experience. I'm not gonna have to say like, bro, you gotta play me if you wanna. That's a thing in the past, man. You don't gotta. I don't gotta. Well, you wanna get better. You gotta pay me, bro. Like I understand that's how a lot of people came up. Even in like games like chess. They wouldn't. They're playing for money out there. To get better, like down there in Harlem. But like, and they were doing that in all these other fighting games where I'm not going to play you unless you pay me money, right? I'm not about that at all. That's just I'll play you any like any skill level. That doesn't matter to me at all.
All right, you got it. I guess I was gonna ask about like future. What do you think is missing from practice mode? Let's say like Tekken 8 comes out. What's your wish list for Tekken 8 practice
Oh
mode?
my goodness. Okay. They need to have a reaction after getting hit, and I need to be able to record it or something. Or like allow me to have the recording play after they got hit, after they guarded something or whatever. Street Fighter 5 has this mode where after they block something you can mash a 3 frame or you can like on their wake up as soon as they tech roll they can match something. If I could have them get hit by an attack and then mash while standing forward from force crouch, I could practice with punishing so much better and get
Dude,
comfortable with the
I
timing
thought
on
so, I
that.
thought that was like in the game. I just didn't know how to do it. Like you want
No.
like the bot to react after a certain
Yeah.
action, right? Like you want
After
like a follow up action, right?
hmm after they've been hit, right? And I want
Yeah,
them to do, but that might be hard to implement because there's no like while standing state in like Street Fighter 5.
right.
It's all the same. Buttons, buttons, buttons. So I think they gotta. I think they're working on it, but I'm saying like if I could have someone guard like an attack, let's say Devil Jin Demon Paw, I could have
Yeah,
them mash jab after it. Like that would be so nice in testing situations. But I just have to go in the game and like that's what makes Tekken kind of hard. Kind of this is
yeah.
what you
You need a
gotta
partner
assume,
for that,
right?
right?
Yeah, this is what you gotta assume, right? If you can whip punish this, you gotta get nice, right? Because uh you just gotta try it in the game, right? You gotta
Yeah.
believe, and that's what makes Tekken players, kind of up there for me because they really gotta. But that would really help, like in practice mode. I think that would be good. Another thing that would be good, off the top of my head, honestly, that's literally it. That's the only thing missing from that practice mode, and then it would
Yeah.
be a god-like practice mode.
In a tutorial, probably, right, to teach you systems, like all the hidden shit that people don't know. There's a lot of hidden shit that people don't know. Like I always talk about these, but like the things that are never written in any of the tooltips, or I'm trying to think. There's so many things. Like Ian, I feel like I told you about one of these. Like
Yeah, you told me one about the tech rolling thing on the floor.
yeah, like
when you're getting off the
just like
floor.
yeah, just things that are like hidden tricks. Ah man, I can't think of any right now, but like just things that. Oh, I have a question for you. Do you know about this thing where if it's like on orbitals, right? They have this thing where if you hit up, you can like kind of it'll
Yes,
come out
jump
faster.
canceling.
Jump
We call
canceling.
that jump canceling. You can
That's a
jump
real thing,
cancel
right?
yes, you can jump cancel the first, I think, 1 or 2 frames of your orbital by
So
like
I've always
doing
done that.
up.
So as soon as I learned about orbital, I've always done that. My shit's always come out clean and nasty.
Can you
But like when I
explain it?
tell people about this, no one fucking knows what I'm talking about. That has
Yeah,
to be the next second
jump
tutorial.
Let's see, explain it.
yes, jump can't. It's hard to like notice a bit, but if you do an orbital and you slightly like, let's say you tap up, and you like have a neutral for a couple frames, and then you hit your button, you'll jump cancel it because you see how when you jump, your character crouches a bit, but you're still
Yeah.
holding up, right? Because you can input jumping moves from crouch.
And
You'll
it's called the Kadizi, right? You've heard it called the
yeah.
Kadizi, right?
Okay.
I have not at all. Was it
It's
Khadijah?
never
Is that like a
it's
hot
called
dog?
it's called the Kadizi.
No, I've
All right,
never heard
sorry,
it called a
continue. I'm
Khadijah. Is that
interrupting.
like
All
a
right, sorry.
sausage?
You said you crouch slightly. Sorry, continue. Crouch slightly.
Yeah, it'll make your character model crouch, and that's what leads to it jump canceling a bit. You tap up. It's not really too complicated, It works.
Super easy.
It's something that Lars players should do. Something like
I'm a
I
Lars
guess
player,
Leroy.
dude, or I used to
Yeah,
be. This it comes out
yes,
so fast.
it's a Lars player thing. Really, it's like I guess Leroy players don't do it, but if they did, it would be kind of annoying to deal with. Like those 2 frames, like kind of matter for his orbital. But I don't actually know if he can do it, but I'll try to test that. But
Wait again. So
yeah,
what's
that
the benefit of doing the jump cancel?
comes out faster.
Oh,
It
it comes out
hides
faster.
like
Okay.
yeah. So you're more likely to run into the orbital and not dash block it. That's just it. Just make your move look like it comes out faster. It doesn't come out faster per se. It just hides those starting frames of the attack, and it's like, whoa, it's out there now, right?
I see.
Dude, so in my opinion, so yeah, like I think the next Tekken's tutorial mode, it should have like something that explains every system. Even I know it's gonna be like these anime games that come out where it's like 18 pages of mechanics, but fuck it, just put it in the game, right? Just have everything in the game. It's better than it not being in the game. Like it's better than it being word of mouth, in my opinion, at least, right?
Yeah.
I,
You know
I,
what
I,
game
I get
had a
I get that.
tutorial?
What's
Tekken
that?
5 Tekken 5 DR for the PSP had a tutorial, and they taught you how to do highs, mids, lows, like grabs, throws, how to step, how to avoid attacks, how to
No,
bat
that's like
dash.
yeah, but like I'm talking about the secret dirty shit like that Guilty Gear teaches you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like of course, I was thinking about, well, kind of secret, me and Speed Kids were thinking about trying to create some type of Tekken tutorial, like maybe written guide, like on how to like play the game, like and like there's a lot of footsies when it comes to Tekken. Like they could even teach you something as simple as like jab it. You get hit by like an attack, you can sidestep block. Like that would be the future if they taught you that, and then we could all just start playing Tekken at that level. But like within the tutorial, like they should just hire me to make a tutorial design. I don't know, but like I think it's by design that they don't have a tutorial to keep it like
Yeah.
player like because Tekken has evolved because it hasn't had. I know that sounds stupid, Tekken's evolved in this way because it has no tutorial,
I
right?
don't know about that. That sounds insane to me.
Yeah, it's kind of like five head to say that, but
They added a frame
it's
rate.
better.
They
Yeah.
added a frame rate thing, so it's like that's out the window. If they didn't add the frame rate thing, I would kind of see what you're saying, because I know in the past Harada has said like we enjoy like the mystery is part of the game, not
Yeah,
finding
that's
out.
stupid.
Yeah, but
I
that's
don't
kind of
like
what you're
that.
saying. That's kind of what you're saying, though, right?
I'm saying it is evolved this way because of no tutorial. Like it's dumb. It's like we need to get like it will be more. There's only pros that come from like having a tutorial. Like you get more newer players and it raises the skill floor kind of a bit, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's not just running in there doing attacks, right? But I don't know. It's just his like culture with the game. I don't know what's wrong with him, but hopefully next Tekken game has some type of even a simple tutorial to teach people how to get up off the ground. Like tell them how to get up off the ground, like the like
Yeah,
options. Like that'd be
dude.
fine.
Dude, God bless Eris, because he has the best videos on like getting off the ground and tech rolling. Like he makes it so simple, but like they have to just have that in the game. Like it
Yes,
just has to be in
please
the game.
do.
But yeah, no, I'm really crossing my fingers for that, and it has to be in development. I think we're kind of crossing. This is probably the worst year. This past year, we created this Tekken podcast, and we're like in the doldrums of 7 right now, and it's totally fine. But we got to.
Hey, but think about it, dude. If we can make it through the dark times of Tekken, then what's gonna happen when
It's gonna be booming.
Yeah, but hey,
All
dude, I was
right.
gonna ask
Yeah,
you, is there any way you can help me out with? There's a few things that I'm struggling with in Tekken, dude, but it's mostly character
Sure.
issues. But I feel
Sure.
like I've been getting worse and worse at the game since I kind of stopped dedicating a lot of time to it. So I know that there's a lot of things that I just need to update myself with. But yeah, maybe I'll reach out to you, dude. Is also like, is there like a difference in pricing for your coaching, dude? How does it work? How exactly do you?
Nope, $35, and we go until we're done. Usually it takes 2 hours.
hell yeah.
All right.
Yep, it's
Good to know,
anything.
man.
Any questions? Usually you send me replays. I'll figure it out when you send them to me, and it's always free to just ask me questions. Like
Yeah.
coaching is just my little way to make money on the side.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I forget, dude. I was asking you about going to like offline events. I forget you were like probably like 19, 18 at the time, right? Like before the pandemic. Yeah, I forget, dude.
Yep.
You're so young, man.
Yes, very. I'm going to be going to Winter Brawl. Very
Hell yeah.
excited. I'm going to try to win Tekken 7, and then maybe
Fuck
the
yeah.
side events. I don't know who's going to beat me in Tekken 6 or CAD 2 or Tekken 5 DR. I don't think any of them know how to actually play Tekken over there, but we'll see. What happens? Maybe Tekken 7. That's the only tournament I'm probably going to have to try my hardest to win.
Awesome.
It is the main game. So, anything else you guys want to ask me?
I think that's it. I think so. We're gonna have the Tekken 7 coaching request form for Landon in the description. His Twitter is, I believe, it's TK_Landon at TK_Landon. And what's your email?
I mean, it's in the coaching request form.
Okay,
I mean,
for sure.
it'll
So
be
yeah, check the
there.
description. Everything's gonna be in the description. Yeah, TK_Landon. Follow him on Twitter. He's always got good gems. So even if you feel like you know everything about Tekken, even Bronson, Tran, and Speed Kicks are retweeting him. So you gotta get the gems while they're there.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt.
While
no one's
I'm here.
too smart. No one's too smart to learn. So yeah.
Yeah, even me.
And we're not Mac. He's not Dr. Was that Mac? You said you were Dr. Doolittle?
That was fighting GM.
Fuck fighting GM. Fuck you, you asshole. But I remember that clip. That was a dumbass clip. But
it was a funny clip.
It was a funny ass clip. That's how to be honest, that's how I heard about you. And then I started following you. I was like, this guy's, he's got good shit. So
I didn't even take it too bad. It was just the community thought it was too bad. I was running with the name for a bit.
Dr. Doolittle is
really
a great movie. Eddie Murphy's a legend. So
yeah, I'd be talking to animals all the time.
All right, Ian, you got anything else?
No, I think we're all good, man.
All right, Landon, thank you so much for coming on short notice, bro. This is a great episode, dude.
Hey,
great
thank you for having
Hit him
me.
up. Hit him up.
Yeah,
Fill out the form.
After
I had
Winter
a
Ball,
lot of
dude, if
fun.
things go well for you, we might come back for part 2.
We want you back on, yeah. So I think the part 2 is gonna be me sending you footage of mine, and then you just roasting the fuck out of me.
That would be
I'm not gonna roast you. It's fine. I'll be happy to do part 2.
All right, for sure, man. Okay,
Coming on, dude.
Thank you so
All right,
much,
thank
sir.
you.